Did you just give that boy free food? The diner owner growled. You're fired. The waitress stood frozen. The hungry child clutched his stomach watching her leave. 24 hours later, a black SUV parked outside the diner. 3 men wearing FBI jackets walked in. What made a free meal become a reason for FBI intervention? Type 1 if you feel the waitress was treated unfairly. Welcome to QH. Let's uncover what really happened. Natalie Pierce wiped down the counter at Oakview Diner for the 3rd time that hour. The bitter December wind rattled the windows, matching the chill in her bank account. At 28, her life resembled nothing of the dreams she'd once harbored. Waitressing wasn't her ambition. But it paid the bills, mostly, and kept her 4-year-old daughter Chloe in daycare while Natalie worked double shifts. 3 years had passed since David's car slid off an icy overpass, leaving her a widow with mounting bills and a toddler who still asked when Daddy was coming home. Brookside wasn't a wealthy town, and tips at the diner reflected the struggling economy. Still, Natalie maintained the gentle smile that had become her trademark. The afternoon rush had dwindled to a couple of truckers nursing coffee when Natalie noticed him. A small boy, perhaps 6 or 7, peering through the foggy window. His jacket was too thin for the December freeze, his cheeks reddened from wind and cold. But it was his eyes fixed on a customer's half-eaten burger that caught Natalie's attention. She glanced toward the kitchen where Mr. Langford, the owner, was arguing with a supplier on the phone. 17 years running, the diner had hardened him. His policies were strict. No handouts, no exceptions. Natalie slipped outside, shivering as the cold air bit through her uniform. Hey there, she said gently. Are you okay? The boy startled, ready to run, but hunger kept him rooted. I'm lost, he admitted finally. I was with my dad at the store, but I couldn't find him. I haven't eaten since breakfast. Natalie looked at him carefully. Clean clothes despite the circumstance, good shoes, articulate speech, not neglected. Just lost and hungry. Come inside where it's warm, she offered. I'll help you call your dad. At the counter, Natalie tried the boy's phone number, but it went straight to voicemail. What's your name, she asked, dialing the local police non-emergency line. Evan, he answered, eyes still drawn to the plates of food passing by. While waiting on hold with the police department, Natalie made her decision. In the kitchen, a plate of untouched food had been returned, a mistake in the order that would normally be discarded. She reheated it quickly and placed it before Evan, whose eyes widened. It's okay, she whispered. Eat while we wait. Evan had just taken his 3rd grateful bite when Mr. Langford emerged from the kitchen. Phone call concluded in irritation, seeking a new target. His gaze landed on the boy, then the plate, then Natalie's face. Did you just give that boy free food? He demanded, voice carrying across the now quiet diner. Sir, he's lost and hungry. I used the returned order from table 6, Natalie explained. The police are on their way to help find his father. That's not your decision to make, Langford snapped. You're fired. Get your things and leave now. Without argument, she untied her apron and collected her purse. With dignity intact, despite the public humiliation, she squeezed Evan's shoulder and whispered, the police will help you, before walking out into the unforgiving cold. Some sacrifices seem small to those who make them, but enormous to those who witness them. Can a single moment of compassion ripple beyond what we imagine? Evan finished his meal in uncomfortable silence, aware of the stares from remaining customers. The police officer who arrived treated him kindly, taking notes about his father and their separation at the department store 3 blocks away. We'll find him, the officer assured, unaware that Evan's father had already been searching frantically, having lost track of his son during a moment of distraction while purchasing Christmas gifts. What no one at the diner knew, what Natalie couldn't have guessed when she offered that simple act of kindness, was that Evan Matthews was not an ordinary child from an ordinary family. His father, Special Agent Daniel Matthews, had recently transferred to the Brookside FBI field office, heading an investigation into financial crimes across the county. Agent Matthews had been working undercover, maintaining a low profile in town while building cases against several local businesses suspected of money laundering. The separation from his son had been brief, but terrifying, a moment of carelessness during rare personal time away from his demanding assignment. By evening, the incident at Oakview Diner had spread across social media. A customer had recorded Miss Langford firing Natalie, sharing it with a caption condemning the diner's heartless treatment of a woman helping a lost child. Comment sections divided between those supporting Natalie's compassion and others defending the owner's right to protect his business from employees giving away product. Rights Matter 20. If she wanted to feed the kid, she should have used her own money, not stolen from her employer. Brookside Mom, my grandmother goes to that diner. Natalie always made sure she had extra cream for her coffee. This is disgusting. Natalie remained unaware of her viral moment. After collecting Chloe from daycare, she sat at her kitchen table, calculating how long her meager savings would last. Christmas presents already purchased would need to be returned. The heating bill could be delayed, but not rent. "Mommy, why are you Chloe asked, coloring a picture of Santa with stubby crayons. "Just grown-up stuff," Natalie answered, summoning a smile. "Nothing for you to worry about." The next morning, a distinguished man in a tailored suit entered Oakview Diner, approaching the counter where Miss Langford was reviewing receipts. "May I help you?" Langford asked without looking up. "I hope so," the man replied. "I'm interested in speaking with one of your waitresses, Natalie Pierce." Langford snorted. "Not here anymore. Fired her yesterday for giving away food without authorization." "Is that so?" The man's expression remained neutral. "To whom did she give this food?" "Some kid. Claimed he was lost." Langford finally glanced up. "Who's asking?" The man placed a business card on the counter. "Daniel Matthews. The kid was my son." Langford's complexion paled slightly, as he read the card identifying Matthews as an FBI special agent. That afternoon, Natalie received a rejection email from the first job she'd applied to. "Regret to inform you that your recent termination for theft makes you ineligible." When her doorbell rang, Natalie expected to find her landlord. Instead, she opened the door to find Daniel Matthews holding a business card. "Miss Pierce, I believe you helped my son yesterday. May I come in? The universe has a curious accounting system. What seems like our greatest loss can become the doorway to unexpected opportunity. If you believe in karma's perfect timing, type believe." Natalie's modest apartment told Daniel Matthews everything about her priority. Despite obvious financial constraints, children's books lined a small bookshelf, educational posters decorated walls, a small Christmas tree bore handmade ornaments, though few presents lay beneath it. "I can't thank you enough for helping Evan," Matthews said. "He told me how kind you were and what happened after." Natalie shrugged, embarrassment coloring her cheeks. "Anyone would have done the same." "No," Matthews replied firmly, "they wouldn't. My son sat in that diner for 45 minutes after you left. Not one person checked if he was okay." Matthews placed it on her coffee table. "Evan was quite upset when he learned what happened. He insisted I make it right." Inside the envelope, Natalie found enough cash to cover a month's rent and expenses. Her vision blurred with unexpected tears. "Matthews, this is to Marcus, please." He interrupted. "And it's not charity, it's justice. Speaking of which," he checked his watch. "I have a previous engagement this morning. Would you mind meeting me this afternoon? There's something I'd like to discuss regarding potential employment." At precisely 11:30 that morning, a black government-issue SUV pulled up outside Jennings Diner. The lunch crowd paused mid-bite as three men in FBI jackets entered, their presence commanding immediate attention. Daniel Matthews led the group, his casual demeanor from Natalie's apartment replaced by professional authority. "Robert Langford?" he asked. Though he already knew the answer, Langford emerged from the kitchen, wiping greasy hands on his apron. "That's me. What's this about?" "I'm Special Agent Matthews with the FBI," he replied loud enough for customers to hear. "We need to speak with you regarding some financial matters." In the back office, Matthews laid out the situation plainly. For 18 months, the FBI had been investigating a laundering operation connected to 3 local businesses. Jennings Diner wasn't their primary target, but financial records suggested it was being used to clean smaller amounts, perhaps without the owner's full knowledge. "Your irregular banking patterns raised flag," Matthews explained. "I don't know what you're talking about," Langford protested, though sweat beaded along his hairline. "Then you won't mind if we examine your financial records more closely," Matthews replied, sliding a warrant across the desk. "Your accountant, Mr. Delaney, has been quite cooperative this morning." Langford collapsed into his chair, the mention of his accountant confirming his worst fears. Delaney handled books for several local businesses, including those at the center of the FBI investigation. "I just did what he told me," Langford muttered, "said it would save on taxes." By afternoon, Natalie arrived at the address Matthews had provided, the local FBI field office. Confused but curious, she was escorted to a conference room where Matthews waited. "Sorry for the mystery," he greeted her, "but I wanted to make you an offer after handling some related business." The related business became clear as Matthews explained the situation. Langford was being charged with tax evasion and money laundering. The diner would likely be sold to satisfy penalties and back taxes. "Our office needs administrative support," Matthews concluded. "The hours are standard government business hours. The benefits include childcare assistance and the pay is significantly better than Waitress. Would you be interested?" Natalie stared in disbelief. Why me? Because of Evan. Matthews smiled. Initially, yes. But we've done our due diligence. Perfect attendance at your previous job. Excellent references before Jennings. No criminal record. Plus, you've demonstrated good judgment under pressure. That's exactly who we need. News of Langford arrest and Natalie's new position spread through Brookside with predictable speed. What had begun as a simple act of kindness had revealed both corruption and character, setting in motion consequences no one could have anticipated. When the world seems darkest, sometimes it's simply preparing the canvas for your brightest moment. If you believe that kindness eventually finds its way back to you, type faith. 6 months transformed Natalie's life in ways she could never have predicted that cold December day. Her position at the FBI field office provided stability she hadn't experienced since before David's death. Regular hours meant being home for dinner with Chloe each night. Health insurance meant no more delayed doctor visits. The salary allowed small luxuries, new shoes when Chloe outgrew her old ones rather than stretching another month on pinched toes. The Brookside FBI office became an unexpected family. Agents taught Chloe how to dust for fingerprints during the office's family day. Administrative staff traded babysitting during school holidays. Natalie's organizational skills and attention to detail earned respect beyond her initial connection to Matthews. Oakview Diner reopened under new management. A retired police officer who hired back the staff Langford had employed, minus the former owner himself. He renamed it Heaven Table, and instituted a pay-it-forward program where customers could pre-purchase meals for those who couldn't afford them. The diner wasn't the only thing transformed. Evan started visiting the Matthews home regularly for playdates with Chloe. The children bonded over building elaborate Lego structures and their mutual appreciation for Natalie's homemade macaroni and cheese. On a warm evening in June, Marcus invited Natalie and Chloe to join them for a baseball game. As they settled into their seats, Matthews handed Natalie an envelope. "What's this?" Or she asked, opening it to find a photograph. The picture showed Natalie, Evan and Marcus eating together at Haven Table. Someone had added a caption, "Kindness is never wasted." "Evan wanted you to have it," Matthews explained. "It's going in his school presentation about heroes." Natalie blushed. "I'm no hero, that's for him to decide," Matthews replied, watching his son excitedly point out the mascot to Chloe. "Sometimes heroes just look like people who do the right thing when it would be easier not to." That night, Natalie tucked Chloe into bed beside the window where moonlight spilled across her pillow. "Mommy," Chloe murmured sleepily, "are you happy now?" Natalie considered the question, thinking of the journey from that frigid December day to this peaceful moment. "Yes," she answered truthfully. "I'm very happy now." "Because of your new job?" Natalie smiled, stroking her daughter's hair. "Because I didn't change who I am even when it was hard." That evening, Natalie stood on her small balcony, watching Chloe sleep through the glow of a nightlight. She thought of the warmth a single meal gave Evan, and how it spiraled into second chances for them all. In a world that too often punishes the soft-hearted, her story had proven this true strength isn't about who holds the power, but who dares to use kindness when no one else will. The smallest kindnesses often create the largest ripple. One moment of compassion can transform not just a life, but an entire community. When I first heard about Natalie's story, it reminded me of my own mother. There were nights when we had nothing but kindness from strangers to hold us over. We never forgot those faces. That's why this story matters. Not because it went viral, but because it proved something simple. The strongest people aren't always the ones in uniform. Sometimes they're the ones just trying to feed their kids. If this story reminded you of someone, share it with them. They deserve to know they're not alone. We told their story. You gave it meaning. Thank you.